Vadim Rustem is on his knees on the sidewalk, digging out some paving and battling his way through the dirt. He's embroiled in a race against time. There's something underneath the ground, and he has to retrieve it before it's too late. At last, his hole is big enough, so he reaches in and pulls out what he's been looking for. The gathered onlookers, meanwhile, are so amazed that they can't hold back their tears. Rustem's incredible story began one day in September 2015. He was walking on the sidewalk outside his home in Voronezh, a city in southwest Russia, when he heard a strange noise. At the time, though, he was unable to determine the source of the sound. But the noise was certainly bothering him, and Rustem remembered that local authorities had recently paved over a sinkhole that had remained outside his building for 3 weeks. Could something still be lurking inside it? Rustem reckoned that just might be the case, but he knew he couldn't just start digging up the sidewalk. Instead, he asked the authorities to investigate. But because this would seemingly have involved undoing the already completed repair work, city officials declined to help. The noise, though, wasn't going away, so Rustem simply decided to take matters into his own hands. In fact, he used a hammer as a lever to start pulling up the sidewalk's bricks, located directly above the noise. Of course, with this being the 21st century, the primitive dig was captured on camera by one curious onlooker. The resulting film shows that once Rustem had removed a section of bricks, he then starts to shovel dirt with his hands. But just when he seems to be making progress, a large boulder appears. The rock would, moreover, prove tricky to remove because Rustem's hole curved around the bottom of some steps, severely restricting his space. Nevertheless, Rustem is clearly getting closer to the source of the strange sound. He continues to dig as the woman behind the camera becomes more and more agitated. "Come on," she keeps saying in Russian, "come on." Finally, Rustem can take hold of what has been trapped under the ground. Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story. He remains calm. His mission isn't quite completed yet, after all, but it all gets a bit too much for the woman holding the camera. Fighting back tears, the woman films Rustem shoveling out more dirt as a very bemused face appears from the cavity. That face belonged to a dog that had been barking and crying for 2 days in a desperate bid to be heard, and amazingly, it was about to be set free. It turned out that the stray pooch, later named Belka, was actually in a sinkhole when the authorities covered it over. She was essentially entombed beneath the paving without food or water for roughly 48 hours. But the story wasn't over yet. When Rustem started pulling Belka free, he realized just how important it was to be careful with her. Indeed, when Rustem had freed Belka's front half, there was a brief pause as the rescuer considered the best way to lift the rest of her out of the hole. That's because Belka was pregnant. It's probable that the stray had thought the sinkhole was a relatively safe place in which to give birth to her litter. What must she have thought when the hole was patched over? Rustem placed his hands behind Belka's front legs and pulled one last time, and despite the dramatic nature of her rescue, the fact that onlookers now surrounded her, the dog managed to remain totally calm. In fact, when Belka reached the surface, she clambered to her feet, started wagging her tail, and strolled over to meet the delighted onlookers. She was probably just relieved to not have to bark any longer. Certainly, the scene was reminiscent of a long overdue reunion, a testament to how grateful Belka was to be rescued and how she had captured the hearts of those who gathered to watch. Naturally, emotions were running high at this point. Belka probably couldn't believe her luck, but she remained a dog with an uncertain future. Where would she go now, and where would her litter be born? Sadly, the latter concern became a mute subject. Her unborn puppies didn't make it. While Belka had managed to soldier on without food and water, the lack of sustenance had proved too much for her brood. There was some good news for Belka, however, as she was placed in an animal shelter after being given a clean bill of health. She was then made available to be adopted. Belka's rescue, which was defined by one man's steely determination to help an animal in distress, was nothing short of remarkable. Hopefully, there will be another human who steps in to begin a new chapter in Belka's already eventful life. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with your friends and family. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.